Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, here's a topic we're going to talk about the books and some of the history of the Canadian military over the years that I'm aware of. There's a lot more that I don't know about the Canadian military history, but let's get a good start. So I'm going to a couple things. I'm going to talk about a few of the books I use, my own research that I have, some of the books that are out there. Well, the first book I actually picked up in the start of this project, because I'm writing a book of the Canadian military history, which I'm going to give you a little excerpt of what I have so far from it. On a couple of topics, but the first book I'm using my research. Actually, I picked up world's biggest bookstore in Toronto, Young and I think Edwards, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Is Canada and the Korean War. Brought to us by the Department of History and Heritage, Department of National Defense. Very good book, actually. When I was actually going to the bookstore, this was top shelf, staring me down. It was good timing. I just was doing research on it at the time at a computer place, a computer cafe, Internet Cafe, and found that one. Next one I have here is from Pierre Berton. Everybody knows this one. It's a national #1 bestseller, national bestseller. It's Pierre Berton, Marching as to War, Canada's Turbulent Years, 1899 to 1953. So this covers the Boer War, between the Boer War and the First World War, between the First and Second World War, between Second World War and Korea. It's got everything you want to know about Canadian military history, but it covers a lot of it in a very somewhat drier format. But it's loaded with information. Great book overall. A book on Canada, on our mission in Afghanistan. A lot of background information. Canada and Afghanistan, the war so far. This actually is an excellent book. I know it's the glare on it. I can't really see. It's by Peter Picot from the Dundurn Group. Yeah, it's on the back. I'll show you the back cover actually. There's a C-130. It's number 335. From looks like Canada. I'll bring it down a little bit. On the back of it, and there's a little blurb. From Talbot Airlift out of Camp Mirage, Canadian Forces shipment base located southwest Asia, taxis to the ramp. Photo by Corporal John Bradley, courtesy of Combat Camera. Front cover, Captain Nancy Peltier diffused kites and colors of the Canadian flag in the Peg Hummin quarter of Kabul. Forces Master Corporal Yves Proto, courtesy of Combat Camera. Front cover. Photo bottom is LAV 3s at sunrise at Camp Julian in Kabul. Photo by Sergeant Frank Hudek of courtesy of Combat Canada. This actually is a very good book. It covers a lot of background knowledge about Afghanistan, the people, all that. Very good overall book. I recommend this book to anybody who wants to know more about Afghanistan. A very good, knowledgeable book. The next book is from Desmond Morton, actually. It's a very good book. It's The Military History of Canada by Desmond Morton. It's the 5th edition, so it covers, I believe, the new updated to include Canada's place in the war on terrorism. I'll read a little bit of the introduction in the back of the book. Is Canada really a peaceable kingdom with a unmilitary people? Nonsense, says Desmond Morton. This is a country that has been shaped, divided, and transformed by war. There is no greater influence in our history, recent or remote, from the shrewd tactics of Canada's First Nations to her troubled involvement in Somalia, from the plains of Abraham to the deserts of Afghanistan. Morton examines our centuries-old relationship to war and its consequences. A military history of Canada is an emerging, engaging, and informative chronicle of Canada at war. from one of Canada's finest historians. I say again, this is a good book if you're interested in Canadian military history. Des Morton and J.L. Grandstein, which are the next two books we're going to be seeing, are excellent authors. I recommend their books to anybody, and especially this next book if you're just interested in what happened with our military over the last 30, 40 years after the Korean War and all the cutbacks they've suffered. This is a very good book on who he blames. He blames everybody equally. J.L. Grandstein. This is the number one national bestseller as well as Pierre Berton's. Here's one of the comments from Major General retired Louis Mackenzie. No one but Grandstein could have provided such a succinct analysis in a more readable format, which I agree with 100%. Very readable, very interesting book. I recommend this to anybody who's interested in the topic overall. The next one from J.L. Grandstein is Canada's Army Waging War and Keeping the Peace, from University of Toronto Presses. So that's the book right there. Oh, sorry, you got the glare of the monitor. It's an excellent book. I've read a few sections of it, mainly Bosnia and all that. But the best book on Afghanistan I've read from the soldier's perspective. I'll read you the back of it. A groundbreaking collection told by Canadian soldiers, doctors, and aid workers. Outside the Wire contains not only vivid accounts of the battle and more subtle engagements in this little understood conflict, but also illuminating and passionate letters home from Captain Nicola Goddard, the first female NATO soldier killed in combat, and civilian carpenter Mike Vernaski, who was shot and killed while building a school in the Narain Valley. Throughout each piece, the passion of those engaged in the rebuilding of the shattered country shines through. A glimmer of hope and optimism and determination so rare in multinational military actions, and so particularly Canadian. Okay, this is an excellent book. Outside the Wire, it's a newer one, I believe. I believe it's reasonably new. I picked it up not too long ago, actually, and it is from. Oops, lost the page again. Copyright is from 2007. And the last book we're gonna show before we really cut this one short, this section of the video, this history portion of it, is Fortune's Favor of the Brave. Tales of Courage and Tenacity in the Canadian Military History. Edited by Colonel Bern Horn. Forwarded by Senator Romeo Dallaire, Liberal Senator. Good man. Many Canadians see the role their country's military plays in Afghanistan as an anomaly. However, this assumption is far from the truth. As U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice has commented, Canadians are fierce fighters. Fortune's Favor of the Brave certainly proves this point in a collection of essays that showcase the lightning fighting spirit and courage of Canadians military. During actions featured in this book, including the intrepid assault in the fortress of Louisbourg, the cat-and-mouse struggles between Canadian partisans and Rogers Rangers in the 7 Years' War in the 1750s, to the seesaw battle for the Niagara frontier in the War of 1812. This innovative trench raid in the First World War, a valiant parachute assault to penetrate the Third Reich in the Second World War. The infamous Battle of Kapong in the Korean War, covert submarine operations of the Kowal, the Medak Pocket clash in Croatia in the early 1990s, and Operation Medusa in Afghanistan. Well, in the next part of this video, I'll talk a bit about the Operation Medusa. There's a personal component to that one for me. which always brings a tear to my eye. So I'll try to keep it good. Okay, well, this is the first part of it. So wait, part two.